Hi, friends. Welcome. My name is Fani Reinders, and today we've got a very special guest with us today, Patrick Smacchia from NDepend, and he's going to change your world when it comes to code refactoring. It's going to make it a lot of easy. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another show of Fani Live, the show we dive deep into Azure and .NET. Today, we're going to talk about NDepend and the person behind NDepend, Patrick Smacchia.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi, Patrick. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good, thank you. Now, we are here to talk about NDepend and also, but more importantly, you are in Mauritius right now. So a nice and hot country. Welcome to the show. So let's quickly, maybe for the folks that do not know NDepend or yourself, maybe start off with a brief introduction.
So NDepend is a tool for .NET developer. It has many features and many use cases. Okay, so basically, actually the community naming the Swiss Army knife for .NET developer. So basically, it's focused on dependency, as the name suggests, and NDepend. It's focused on code quality. Okay, it can do some reporting. It has a Visual Studio integration. It can work with JetBrains Rider side by side. Okay, so basically, it's a tool to provide you with knowledge about your code base. Because now .NET is very mature, we all working on very large code base, and it's very hard to get the big pictures and to understand what's happening on a large code base. So basically, NDepend can help you both improve your code, refactor your code, make sure you're heading to the right direction with your code base. So it can be useful to a quality engineer, to team leader. It can be engineer to the daily developer that wants to know if it's doing a good job in terms of quality. So yeah, it does a lot of things.
So NDepend has started a couple of years ago, as I understand, and also with the whole tooling built in Visual Studio. How does that compare with the built-in architectural things in Visual Studio versus what NDepend offers?
So Visual Studio is really great. We all love it. But concerning architecture, from understanding, they're not really working on it. There is no really improvements. From what I know, it's not really working. I mean, it's hard to say something nice, but try it. I don't think it's really working. But concerning quality, all the Roslyn analyzer, everything around Roslyn is really, really nice. And NDepend doesn't really overlap with that, as we're gonna see during the demo. NDepend is based on C# Link. It has its own API. It's really focused on quality, dependency, diff, trending. I mean, you could do everything, all that with Roslyn, but you would have to do a lot of work on Roslyn. Plus NDepend is really, really fast. The engine is really optimized. So, I mean, Roslyn is also very fast, but maybe we get an order of magnitude in difference for the same code base. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been also trying out NDepend. Thank you so much for the license to try it out, by the way. I've been trying it out on a fairly large code base, and I was absolutely blown away by the speed of how it works. And how about you just maybe share your screen or
Yeah,
give
sure.
a quick demonstration of what it means? Because the thing is, I've been playing around with it, and the stuff you can do is absolutely amazing. The metrics you get, the insights you get from an architectural point of view. Most of us are now busy either doing cloud migrations or refactoring into microservices, or maybe breaking up a monolith. This will help you understand how to do that and kind of give you more direction. Am I right?
Yeah. So here I have so NDepend is a small tooling, only 40 megabytes. So you just get a zip that you unzip. You can start with Visual NDepend, okay, which is a standalone UI. You can install the Visual Studio extension, or you can run that side by side with Rider. So what I'd like to do is to analyze .NET 7. So let me grab the URL.
Oh, wait, it has also support for .NET Core. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, of course, it can analyze any flavor, even Silverlight, it can analyze. But no, Blazor, all .NET Core, next version, of course, it will support .NET 5, .NET 8, I mean, sorry. So here, I'm in this directory. So I'm selecting the entire API of .NET 7. Let's analyze it. So it should take a few seconds. Okay, so here basically it tells me that it's missing PDB because it's the release version. So from the PDB, NDepend can go back to source file and get more information from the source file. But here we're gonna get a lot of information from .NET 7. Okay, here we go. So it's done with analyzing it. So we can go to for a start to dashboard. Okay, we can see that there is 18,000 types. Okay, so here we can see it's computing issue. So there is many rules per default. So now it's running the rules to try compute issue. If you want, we can do something fun. We can also analyze .NET 6. So here there is this menu in the dashboard which is choose baseline. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna analyze .NET 6. So .NET 6 should be in here. Okay, here we go. So here, what's happening is NDepend is analyzing a baseline. So we're gonna use .NET 6 as a baseline, and this way we can see some differences with .NET 7. For example, we can see the new API, the new methods, the new classes offered by .NET 7. Something quite fun. Okay, here we are. So we can go to search element by change. Okay, so we can ask, for example, types. So here, search element by change. I'm gonna click type, search type by change. What I want is added types. Okay, so we can see there is 2,000 new types. And here I want only public types. So what I did here, I was fast, sorry. There is this menu, edit query, because actually a code query is generated. So a code query is just a C# link query against the NDepend API. Okay, so you can see it's a pure C# link. So here I'm gonna add the constraint T is publicly visible. Okay, so we get 664 new classes or interfaces into .NET 7. Okay, just to show you how quickly we can gather information from your code base. So for example, this was for a diff. Let's play with some dependency. So
Wow.
here is a dependency graph of all the assemblies of .NET 7. I can expand them all. Okay. So now there is many stuff here. So for example, I can filter them to collection. Let's have a look at collections. So I click search in the graph for collection. Okay, and I can see that 64 elements are matched, and I can keep them, and a new graph is generated just, I'm gonna move us here. And a graph is generated just for collection. And then I can expand again. And here I can get a view of how all collections of the .NET 7 are interacting in terms of dependency. So you can see that when I'm hovering some nodes, some colors are changing.
Mm-hmm.
If I can see the help panel, I can see that here I selected system collection specialized. Okay, what is in blue is a color. What is in blue is an indirect color. Okay, and what is green, coli, I mean called by this thing. And what is green is a color of what is selected. Just to show.
I'm absolutely blown away by this speed. I mean, just let's maybe take a step back and just go back to the whole search. you went and created a link query. So all the .NET developers get happy, right? You can do your little query against the NDepend API, but not. Other than that, it took a few milliseconds to give those results, and on a huge code base. That's insane. And then while you're working on the right hand side, I see you just putting filters in and stuff like that, and it's very, very snappy. How does it work? Why is it so fast?
Oh, I know why, because it exists for 17 years, 17 years, and we work really hard. That's the secret.
Okay.
No, I have to say, personally, I have a passion. I have a real passion for software performance that began when I was a teenager. I was doing a demo on Amiga 500, and that's really how I developed a passion for software performance. And it's really interesting to try to do more with less CPU cycle. There are so many tricks that can be done, and I really enjoy. It's really a bless that the .NET team is working so hard on improving performance on the .NET Core version after version. It's really fun. So yeah, that's a
Is
lot
the
of work.
.NET team using the NDepend as well for the insights?
Yeah, we sold some licenses to some Microsoft departments. Yes.
That's cool. As well, that maybe it's kind of cool how you kind of indirectly contribute to the speed of .NET then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it's using, because with all the rule you can see here, for example, let's just have a look what is a rule. So for example, in the object-oriented design, I can see this one, which is base class should not use derivative, okay, which is pretty obvious, because the base class shouldn't know about the derivative. So here I can see that 149 types are matched. So basically, each match can be considered as an issue of the rule. Okay, so let's have a look. For example, we can see that expression is using. So here are all the expression types, and yes, expression is using all those ones. Okay, so we have an example of a base class that is using derivative. What's interesting is to look at the code rules. The code rule is just a C# link query, okay, prefixed with one if count greater than 0. So this is telling that it's not just a query, but it becomes a rule. One if you match anything, basically. So all those match are issues. Okay, and I like this rule because the heart is very small. It's base class dot derivative types used by base class. Okay, all the rules can be summarized in a few characters. So it's really easy to modify rules. Okay, you can see everything is editable, and it's very easy. So for example, from M in applications methods, okay, where M, let's say INC chromatic complexity higher than say 50, select M. Okay, so here I can match instantly the most complex methods of .NET 7. And just a C# query. It's a bit like LinkPad, except that LinkPad is specialized for, I mean, it's working for everything, but NDepend code query link is working precisely on querying about your code base.
So it's not link per se. This is like a NDepend flavor of link.
It's real link. I mean, you can use all the clauses you like in link, everything you know about link, but it's here to target the .NET API. You cannot use to target your database, for example.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
like LinkPad.
Exactly, but it's bound to the NDepend API only, really.
Yes. And here, let's switch to no-op commerce. So here I have this, I wanted to show you this demo. So here we have this no-op commerce, which is a successful and very large ASP.NET Core project. Okay. And you have NDepend in Visual Studio. So for example, everything we saw, we can see the dashboard, we can see the rules I showed you before. Okay, we can edit a query. For example, create query as I show you. And we can see the graph of this application. Okay. So something I didn't show that maybe we can also see third party in the graph. So we can see that NoOps services is using a lot of stuff. It's using a lot of ASP.NET Core. So for example, if we want to see who is using several Kestrel core, so I choose it totally randomly. So here not much is used. Let's take something more popular. Maybe authentication core. I know there is okay. So here we can see what is using authenticate core. We can keep only the colors of this API. Let's say. Okay, so now I can see all the colors which are basically in NoOps services. Okay, so you can really, as you said, it's really fast and you can really use it to explore your code base. Of course, it works also from the source code or from the solution explorer. So you have some NDepend, you have some, so for example, if I want to, I have a project and I want to see everything about this project, I just need to right click it and select show dependency graph. And here I have all the internal dependency, but I have everything used by NoOps services. And I have everything using NoOps services instantly. So it can be interesting to quickly.
This is amazing. I mean, I haven't seen the integration in Visual Studio that much, and it's very nice to see as well. But how about NuGet packages and stuff like that? Will it kind of also figure that out?
Yes, because actually NuGet packages are typically a bunch of assemblies. Okay, a bunch of assemblies nested into a packages that your application is consuming. So basically, let me go back to the application map. If I see if I show the third-party code onto the graph, onto the graph or any other features in NDepend, you will see the NuGet packages here. So here it's divided in system, third party. So certainly we have extension, caching memory, logging abstraction. We can see we have all sorts of dependency that you can see here. So NDepend knows about the dependency. And this is pretty important if you want to write rules, for example, about I want to use this package that way, like you can do a lot of stuff because it's just C# query. So it's interesting to write a query. Something I wanted to show you. So what's happening typically is that you get a tsunami of issue when you run a scanning tool like NDepend or Roslyn Analyzer, because we all work with very large legacy, and that's very hard to fix. Here NDepend found 3,000 issue on NoOps commerce, okay, which is a lot. And typically you don't want to stop all development. NDepend estimate that you will need 200 days to fix everything, 200 human days to fix everything. So that's not gonna happen. So what you want typically is to have a baseline and fix the new problem introduced since the baseline. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna introduce new problems. Okay. So here I'm adding very dirty methods. I'm adding a base class that is using a derived class. Okay. Let's recompile with ReSharper.
And typically, you don't need ReSharper to run this, right?
Sorry?
You don't need ReSharper to run NDepend.
No. I like ReSharper. Yeah, that's another tool you could think it compete, but I hope what I show till now show that it's different. Personally, I like to use both simultaneously, even though ReSharper really slows the startup of Visual Studio. So I just recompile. I'm gonna run the analysis. So, but I think they did. Is it no? Okay. Yeah, they did a lot of progress in terms of speed, especially since Visual Studio is now a 64 bits process. Shopper really needed a lot of gigabytes, and now it's working much better since Visual Studio 20. So what's happened? What happened now is that we can see that there is two new types, okay, derivate class and base class. There are new methods. Okay, we can see very dirty methods here. We can see derivate class constructor. So let's click. This is what I just added to my code. Okay, and what's interesting is that in terms of issue, instead of dealing with 3,000 issue, I deal only with 5 new issue. So I had my baseline. I did some bullshit, and I need to fix it now. And here I can see that I introduced a avoid method too big to complex, which is obviously very dirty methods here. Okay, it's in bold. Okay. Avoid method poorly commented. So I'm gonna put us here. Okay, very dirty method is not commented at all. Okay. From now, all methods should respect basic quality principle. Okay, so again, we match this one. Base class should not use derivative. We already see this one. So indeed, base class is using derivative. Okay, here we have base class using derivative. And finally, another new issue, potentially dead method. Okay, and indeed, very dirty method is not used at all. And ReSharper actually is showing you also this information. Okay, but what's interesting is that at the large scale of my application, I can directly go to what to fix first. Okay, what's the depth? Also, NDepend is trying to assess the amount of technical debt. I already said that we need 200 days to fix everything. Now actually just went to 208 days because we added more problem. And actually it estimates that we added 2 hours of problem, which means typically that NDepend estimate that to fix everything here, because it's supposed to be recode, I will need 2 hours. Okay?
How does that work? How does it?
How does that works? It's actually it introduces, for example, for this one, I can see most of the technical debt is coming from this new issue. Avoid method too big, too complex. So if I'm gonna go to the rules, okay. So here you have some formula. So basically, I have some C# link code that try to obtain a complexity score from nesting depth, for number of line of code, from cyclomatic complexity, etc. So I obtain a cyclomatic score, and from there are some linear formula that try to infer the amount of depth to obtain. Of course, this is a kind of rocket science. This is empirical, but what's interesting is that we got a lot of good feedback from users. We're also using it ourselves, of course. So every time we see something incoherent, we try to improve it, but now it's pretty mature.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's also interesting if you look at what's happening now with tools like ChatGPT and AI in like GitHub Code, but GitHub Copilot. How would kind of affect the?
So that's I have to say that's pretty new. As you and as everyone, of course, I'm using all those heavily by now. Frankly, I'm not sure. I mean, will we reach the point where ChatGPT 5, 6, or 8 can scan an entire code base and try to do this, do that, provide you with what you fix first? You should try to fix first that. Likely this will happen. We definitely not there now. So I'm really not sure about the future. I mean, we're working hard. We know where we want to go, but we'll see if it ever competes with AI. I have to say, NDepend exists for 17 years, and it's a success in terms of business. It's a successful one. It's working fine. And many times during the lifetime, there was supposed to be something that would kill the business, that would kill the product. So far, it never really happened. So yeah, let's hope and see.
Definitely. And quickly putting Copilot aside, Visual Studio has this functionality in, where you get your light bulb and you can click Control Dot and it will pop up with like fix this refactoring for you. Does it also integrate with Visual Studio in that way, where if there's, for instance, something which is a code smell in this case, can you just control?
Yeah,
control
we have a lot of rules about code smell. We have a lot of rules also about code smell regression. In terms of regression, that's even more interesting because typically this rule violated, that's a regression. From now, all method added should respect basic quality principles. So what we did, we added a dirty method and it's not happy. Okay. So there are a lot of rules. As you saw, it's very easy to modify the rule. For example, if I'm not happy with this threshold, I can modify the threshold and just save the rule. Okay. But it means that because the rule is just a C# link query, there is no code modifier plugged with it.
I see.
Because they are very easy to modify. So it's more to provide you with the problem, and then that's where NDepend is complementary with other tools. It tells you where the problem are. So now, thanks to NDepend, I know that very dirty method is a problem. And now maybe I can use some resharper or Visual Studio refactoring stuff to improve it.
I see. So NDepend gives you the insights, and then you use stuff like
And something, so we mostly talk about Visual Studio and Visual NDepend, etc. But NDepend is definitely a CI tool. So for example, let's generate reports. So run analysis and build reports. So it's a bit longer. So you can generate reports. I'm not gonna demonstrate, but also we have an Azure DevOps. Let me show you. We have an people really enjoy
next
our
question, by the way. It's all fine and dandy if it works locally, but it would be amazing if it can also run on your CI/CD.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we have an Azure DevOps extension. So basically everything you saw till now. So you see you have a dashboard with the same information. There is something very important also, it's coverage. I didn't touch coverage. So coverage is really interesting because we have rules that are linking coverage with complexity. So for example, having a complex method, it's bad. Having a new complex method, it's really bad. Having a method that you refactored since the baseline, very complex, it's bad. But even worse is when you have this complex method that is poorly covered by test. So you can mix all the dimension within the C# link query of NDepend. So NDepend has this kind of rule. If I go back to Visual Studio, for example, you have rules about code coverage, but for that I need to import coverage. Okay, so code should be tested. So here it doesn't find any problem because I didn't import the coverage. New method should be tested. Okay, so all those rules are pretty interesting, and still something interesting also I didn't say is that typically rules are described. There is description and how to fix, and inside the rule body you have the comments that show you the description. Okay, so that's pretty interesting for the beginner that doesn't want to have to deal with the C# link stuff. Meantime, while I was talking, NDepend generated for me a report.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So here is typically the same dashboard. So here I get my 5 new issue. Okay, so here I can see a new issue for this one, for this one. Okay, but typically I can see, for example, the date method. I can see very dirty method is here. Okay, I can jump back to the source code. This is something we want to improve for the next version, by the way. So imagine sharing these reports with a team. That can be interesting. And finally, something very, very important is that NDepend has this notion of quality gates that you don't get typically with a Roslyn analyzer. So typically, you're not gonna stop development or build because you have new issue. Okay, what you need actually is a quality criteria to say when is it really serious. Okay, typically when do I want to stop the build because it's getting bad. So NDepend has a few default quality gates. So typically a quality gate, it's again a code query against your code or against issue that will emit. I can show you typically this query. For example, let's go to quality gate. So here I have a new block broker issue. So I have this blow issue on very dirty method. So again, the quality gate is another C# link query, except that here we have fail if count greater than 0. Okay, so typically quality gate output a value in fail, warning, or succeed enumeration. Okay, so here the quality gate condition fail. Okay, and because I introduced some new serious problem. Okay, and what's interesting is that this quality gate can fail your build. Not the rule, not this rule, but the quality gate itself will fail the build. And what's interesting is that, as you saw by now, it's very easy to configure every quality gate. So for example, you can make sure that if your code base is not 70% covered by test, then you get a fail. You're gonna just warn if it's between 70 and 80%. Okay, or maybe percentage coverage on new code. Okay, so you can write all sorts of criteria that so as a team you can use the default criteria or modify them or write your own to really define what is code quality for you, what is the problem you had in the past you don't want anymore, and then you can fail.
Interesting. I like it. It's very much insightful. One do tend to get like overwhelmed with the insights in a sense, but I bet if you go through it, especially this report that you show me now, this is something that you can typically use in your team or even for management, right? So you say
the reports, also the Azure extension. We have also a GitHub action that I'm not gonna demonstrate. Okay, so here again, you can fail the build, you put some quality gate for violation. Okay, we can integrate with TeamCity, Jenkins, Bamboo, Aveillon, SonarQube, that I can import our issue, cruise control, etc. So because it exists for so long, it's pretty mature. Because we have all sorts of users that are using it in all sorts of different environments.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing the fantastic things of NDepend. It was very nice to speak to you, Patrick. Thank you so much.
It was nice to speak with you, Fanny. Thanks.
There we have it, folks. It is NDepend. It was Patrick showing us all about NDepend. Reach out to me if you want to know more. Do comment down below what you think of the demos, and we'll have a good day. Cheers.